Hey there. Welcome to Top of Mind. Real talk for today's woman. With Anna and Karen.
Our third episode in August, I think it is. So one of the things I want to talk about, I actually did a little bit of a video on it. I think it was last week when it first came out, but I thought I want to talk a little bit more about it because it's bothered me. It sat with me. So I think Anna, you know who Melanie Ann Layer is? I think
Yes.
it's
Yep.
her groups. Yes, okay. So she is a big time I was gonna say feminist, but I don't know if she called herself that, but a female entrepreneur coach who kind of is at the top of the field in how far she's gone and what she's done. She's got thousands of followers and makes, millions each year and has lots of programs and she kind of has a different way of working with group coaching and things like that.
Mhm.
The bigger thing is she started a group this week called it was a free masterclass called Missions to Millions. I think it was
I
Mission
think
for
that's it. Yeah.
Millionaires. So what she generally does is you join up and you wait till the time that the seminar starts, and then they open it up and everybody comes in. So last weekend, she lost her account, completely deleted. Facebook said, that's it, it's gone. Did you hear about this, Anna?
I did. Yeah. I actually am part of her group. Not,
Okay.
yeah.
So, it wasn't so much that had gone. What got to me was listening to her explanation about what she found out why that happened. So the first thing is that, she's got this group with all of these people that all of a sudden start messaging. Because when she puts out a free mastermind, people go, oh, hey, isn't that great? When is it? Oh, good. Free, 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 free. Because I mean, she can be quite expensive sometimes, right?
Hmm.
And so there are within minutes, thousands of comments, happening. So that was one red flag. There was a second red flag, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was the third red flag. And she said, she hesitated about whether to tell us this and put it out there or not. But, I've been thinking a lot about it. And the whole thing is she said she was told the only time that groups, now this is a group. So she starts a group, and all of a sudden there's this influx of thousands of people and thousands of comments. Okay, all excited. And the third thing that made them shut down her account is because the only time that happens in accounts is when it's a hate group.
Hmm.
So she talked about this for a little bit. She was actually sitting there wondering whether to say something about it. I'm glad she did. But the whole concept to me, an idea that, a group would open up that's based on hate and that gets this flock of people coming in. And so that Facebook will close them down because it looks like a hate group. Like that's the way hate behaves in this country. In your country, not mine. I'm
I
Canada.
was going to say you're not American then because politics. I mean,
I
come
feel
on.
so much better. But no, but it's like that's freaking disturbing.
It's insidious.
It's crazy. Like even okay, so if we look at the Olympics, okay, so there was an example, very,
Are we going there?
we're gonna go there. So we're looking at the Olympics, the opening, which was great, wonderful. They had this one thing, and oh my God, the chatter about it way outweighed all the good, all the athletes, all of that type of stuff. And it's kind of like, and I'm gonna say it wasn't all nice. A lot of it was based on hate. There was the whole idea of it being, the Last Supper, this type of stuff, and everything like that. But you know what? There was also an awful lot about inclusivity, diversity, drag queens doing this type of stuff, and a lot of hate in there as well,
Hmm.
or hate motivated, just using the Bible another way, like this
Hmm.
type of stuff.
Hmm.
I know I'm going to get slammed for this, but anyway, be prepared, and I'll deal with the comments.
Thank God. No.
But anyway, it's got me thinking, like, oh my God, I live in this world of love. Like I wake up every day wanting to be of service. I have people like you in my life, people that are spreading kindness, that want to be loved, inclusive, this type of stuff. And then there's this whole other side of our humanity that's like hate, that
Hmm.
that clamor onto it.
I think it even beyond, and I'll tell you why. I think it's beyond hate. and I'm not quite sure what it is, but there was an article that somebody had posted today about women's boxing, and I don't know the person's name. I think the person's from Algeria, and the woman I think that they were boxing against was Israeli, and within the first 45 seconds, the Algerian woman punched the Israeli in the nose, and she went out. And she went out, and then all the things about a transgender. The Algerian is a transgender, and here she is allowed to compete in women's boxing. When the fact of the matter is that biologically she is born a female, but her chromosomes, she has instead of XX, she has an XY chromosome. So now all the people are like transgenders, and I don't want to get into that debate. Like transgender don't belong in competing with women's sport, but it's nothing like that. Now, am I saying that this is no, it's a unique situation. It's not like this person's a male and they're transferring it, that she was born a female. It's just that she has she has the male, she has a Y chromosome.
Right.
So I don't know what the answer, but everybody was again on it. Like it's almost like the negativity. For some reason, we are just so inclined to grasp anything that's negative and just kind of run with it and create this hysteria that is even again in the American political system. And I saw that Melanie lost her account. I didn't realize that third reason.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of scary. And I always, and my philosophy is, and sometimes it's hard for me, especially as a parent, is that I can view the world through the lens of love, or I can view the world through the lens of fear. It's not both. So at any circumstance, I ask myself, am I viewing this through fear, or am I viewing this through love? And the reason I use fear is because there's a lot of hidden things in fear. There's judgment. There's hate. There's a lot of things, in my opinion, that I put in the lens of fear. And I think you and I talked before about Marianne Williamson's book of Return to Love. And, basically it's like, you can live in fear or you can live in faith. I say fear and I say love.
Yeah.
And again, when I look at a circumstance and I'm ready to reply to somebody because I'm like, that is just effed up, I'm like, okay, I don't, because it's sad. I mean, it's sad. And here I have all these, like the whole thing about the Last Supper and the Christians coming together in judgment. I mean, no offense, but that's pretty much what it is. It's fear, like, how dare they mock me, as if the French revolve around American definition of Christianity, because they don't. But we don't have any, it's all about us. They insulted me. How, so I don't know, Karen. I mean, it's just such a, man, you talk about fricking opening up a can of worms, girl. Here, you did it. Here's all those worms.
Well, look, I was just closing my arms there. Oh my God, here we're going to get the onslaught. No, an interesting thing is when you're just talking about fear and things like that. When I was working in the group home, so we're talking the 90s, probably the late 90s. We brought in a woman to help us do some what we called it was anti-racist work, was what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that she taught us is that every stereotype, every hurt, everything comes from some type of hurt somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Our perceptions and things like that. And that's what you talk about, fear. But beyond the fear is also a hurt, is what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Whether somebody felt slighted or alienated or whatever, and this type of stuff. And, you have, in order to be inclusive to some degree, you have to heal those hurts or be willing to look at them and to recognize that there are hurts there and things like that. But, that whole idea that, we call it rubbernecking. You see an accident, everybody's looking at it. It's kind of like we are drawn to negativity, to, and especially, on the internet, to trolling, to being nasty.
Mm-hmm.
I had mentioned, I joined up for a good news article. I think it's called Fix News or Fix It News. And basically he 7 years ago he started this, and he wanted to prove that not all news has to be bad, that, you know, you don't have to go for the headlines and that. I think he's got 15,000 subscribers. So he talks about things like the AIDS epidemic being arrested, certain countries abolishing things like it's all the kind of feel good, what's happening in the world that's good, you know, clean water in certain countries that didn't have it before. These are the things that don't get captured. Actually, he actually also does things like showing President Trump or something like when he was president. This was the story when in fact here was something about all the girls getting to go back to class or something somewhere like, and
Mhm.
how distorted our view is. And it's a great little magazine, but I have to tell you, after 2 months, I stopped subscribing. You know why? Because I was bored. And you know, I didn't think about it till Melanie came out with this, and I thought about that because I just canceled it like last week or the week before,
Uh-huh.
you know. And it's like we get to those things, and it's what do they call it? Our mind is focused on negativity. It's a whole thing that goes back to our ancient brain to keep us
Mhm.
protected. We had to pay attention to what was negative out there, which was
Mhm.
that saber-toothed tiger and things like that. Well, the problem is that, you know, we're in modern society and we still are drawn to the negativity because our brain is still ancient. There we go, we're
Yes.
really old.
Yep.
But it hasn't become modernized. So it's still
No,
going on that. We need to look for everything negative out there to make sure that I'm not prey.
it's very
So,
true.
you know, so it's kind of like, you know, I have a sponsee in the program right now. I mean, she's working really hard on not gossiping, you know, as something that she's drawn to. I mean, like we all have these things, whether it's gossip, talking about your coworker, we can justify and rationalize it, but it's kind of like we're drawn to these negative things.
Mhm.
And you know, it takes a lot of practice. Anna, you're like me, you know, we're more, I'm called Pollyanna half the time, right? Because we see the positive, we look for the positive, you know, that type, but you have to train yourself.
Mhm. And again, most of my life, I wasn't trained that way. I
No,
mean, I was the frickin', Chicken Little. The sky's falling, the sky's falling. Everything that happened, if it was a medical situation, the sky's falling, the sky's falling. Oh, you like it, and it was a long time. So again, this hasn't really happened for me probably over the last 5 or 6 years when I started to try to be more well physically, mentally, and you brought up spiritually last time, and that's the last aspect that I've been working on, is the spiritual aspect. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't always that way. And
no.
in fact, like even growing up, like, I look at my mom and her family, it was like all this negative slant. Oh my God, did you hear what happened to Pauline? And that's just, and then I read something a few months ago that was kind of interesting and I read that for some people, like that negativity is their way of connecting.
Mm,
So they're always bringing up the negative things because that is how they connect, which is kind of interesting. Because I'm like,
mm,
because I mean, I bet you can think of people that way, that
yep.
they're always saying something negative, but I think it's probably in an attempt to make a connection. Um,
It's also about their worldview, right? There are people that just like I have a friend who, you know, I've been studying the law of attraction, things like that. And I remember she said to me one time, "Oh, I tried that, it didn't work." I had no doubt it didn't work because she's a negative kind of person out there that nothing good happens for her. This, like her whole world belief was so she had to change that in order to allow for anything else to come in, right? So I
mhm,
think sometimes that's also what it is it's just people's worldview.
right.
The world's out to get them, or it may be not even that personalized, but the world's bad out there, things are getting bad, this type of stuff. And I mean, some of it also, I mean, I have a client that I said, stop watching news. She was
Right.
very negative. Like I said to her one time, do you enjoy life? Do you like life? And she's like, she started laughing. She says, you know that answer, Karen. No. It's like, turn off the news.
Right.
And she immediately, within a month, noticed how much lighter she was. You
Hmm.
know, there are studies that prove watching news is just not good for us. It's that negative type of stuff, you
Yep.
know, this and to get away from it, to be de-stressed from it. But you do have to train yourself. And you said the last 5 years for me, I was 22 when I went into the program of AA and got sober and started practicing the steps. And it was
Mhm.
through that process, it's been 30 some odd years of constantly looking
Mhm.
at the miracles in my life of changing that. They call it attitude adjustment, which it was,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, and it does take a lot of practice and perseverance and again and again. But today, like I said, I'm able to accept life on life's terms. I have happiness, joy. You know, I watch the TV, I watch news very marginally,
Mhm.
enough to know what's going on in the world.
And I say the last 5 years, like when I went into therapy after Desert Storm, like I stopped watching the news. So that was when I was 24 years old because I recognized that. So it has been a journey for me, but I'm just more aware, I guess,
Right.
is what I'm saying. Like now I'm actually, instead of taking that negative, I actually think, okay, how do I want to view this?
Yep.
Do I want to view through fear, judgment, or do I want to? That's what I mean. Like that's been a more um I don't know what to say, maybe experience kind of process where, yeah, my healing journey's been long, like well over 25 years like yours, but
Yeah.
and it's adding things here and there, but now I maybe I want to use the word more conscious.
Yeah. That's a good word.
um Maybe that's what it is. In the last 5 years I've become more conscious about how I'm taking care of my health, what I'm, and my diet. And my diet is what I read, what I
Mhm.
watch, what I eat. I mean, so many
What I
times,
take in, it's everything I
right?
take in.
Everything I take in, we become so focused on the diet as it relates to food, but it is everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you know why I wanted to bring this up is I just want to bring people's awareness that if you're a person who participates in that negativity, who sees towards that negativity that's inbred, it doesn't have to be that way. You know, I have a method: stand in joy, stand in love. You know, Marianne Williamson. It's like go for the love. It's a much happier life in the end. You know,
Mhm.
I love believing in miracles and not only believing in miracles, seeing miracles. You know, people are miracles, miraculous things happen every day, you know, to celebrate. As a police officer, I got to see people at their worst and their best. Those good
Mhm.
Samaritans, man, thank God for them.
Yes, very true.
So, you know, I just, after I heard her, I just wanted to get on and say, you know what? Let's love on each other. Like, if you're tempted to say something nasty, say something loving. Put it out there for the next week. I'd love to see everybody just join the love train
Hmm.
and recognize we're all connected in one. You know,
Yep,
what I do to you, I do to me.
it's very true. And
So,
a good way, and I can give you a really good micro step
mm,
to try to do that. Start with going one day without complaining.
yeah.
Complaining about yourself. Geez, I'm fat, or geez, I shouldn't have eaten that. Stop complaining. One day. Try one day of not complaining.
Or that stupid driver in front of me.
Or that stupid driver in front of me, or that moron next to me. Like one day. Just try it one day. And you'll see how hard it is. It is
Yeah.
hard. That's where the training comes in. But yeah, that's how you can start. Just commit to one day with no complaints.
So yeah, I think we're gonna close it off here, and I'll see how much hate mail comes in. Anyway,
And remember, it all goes to Karen. Karen,
yes, it all goes to
Karen.
me. I don't want to hear your complaints. You're not allowed to complain, so you got to wait till Friday.
Your one
Tomorrow
day
you're
no
not allowed.
complaints.
Anyway, thank you for joining us today. I'm Karen Vale, a confidence and mindset coach, and I'm here with
Anna Jennings, and I'm your midlife mentor.
woohoo! Thanks for joining us.
Have a good one.